So we can read the writing topic again, right? Write about the following topic. In the past, most people lived in small villages where everyone knew everyone else. Nowadays, most people live in large cities where they only know a few people in their area. So last time we already underlined the keywords there, right? We underlined what, guys? What did we underline last time? Small villages. What else? Knew everyone. Large cities. Yeah, only know a few people. Only know a few people. So those are the keywords, right? And also we look at the question, the main question. What do you think were the advantages and disadvantages of living in a small community, right? So that's the main question. So you have to answer that. And the next thing, give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge and experience. So that is just the general thing, the very common thing, okay? You will see that in every writing topic, so you don't need to care about that, okay? Because that is a must. You must do that. You must give reasons for your answer. You must include any relevant examples from your knowledge and experience. You have to do that. So they are not the key things anymore, okay? That's what you have to do in all of the writing essays. Got it? So now we only need to focus on two things. The first thing is the topic, okay? The main topic. And also, next to that, we need to focus on the main question. All right, guys? So that's what we need to do. Got it? Now. And today, the main question is about what? Advantages and disadvantages, right? Yeah? So you have to write about advantages and disadvantages. Done. Got it? All right. Now, because this is the first class of doing writing here, okay? So you can have a look at the sample answer. Yeah? Now, do you know, okay, first of all, you need to write a plan. All of you, you need to make a plan, okay? Here. You can write a plan. Yeah, you have to do that. Otherwise, you have no idea what to write about, okay? Because I used to read some essays from some other friends, from some other classes, okay? With a higher level than this class. But they still made a lot of mistakes and they still wrote the wrong thing. They went to the wrong directions and they got a very low point, okay? Because they didn't know exactly what they need to write about. Got it? So first of all, you need to write a plan. Now tell me, in every essay, what do you need to do first? Yes, we need an introduction, right? So first of all, you need introduction. You can write there, introduction, or you can write like intro or something. Yeah? Got it? So what's the first thing you need to do in the introduction? Tell me. What should you do in the introduction? Give some idea about what? About what? What? So first of all, you need to paraphrase the topic sentences. You need to paraphrase the topic sentences. Okay? That's what you need to do. Paraphrase the topic sentences. Write this in your notebook, guys. Write this in your notebook. And then you have to fill in all of these things for me. This is just a guideline. Later on, you have to answer all of these things for me. Okay? Writing is really hard. Okay? You can easily get a band 9 for listening and reading, but if you want to get a band 9 for writing, It's really, really tough. I can tell you that. Okay? Write it. All right. Done. Finished. Yeah. So what do I mean by paraphrasing the topic sentences? Do you understand that?
What means paraphrase?
Yeah, that means explaining or describing the sentences. Actually, this one, paraphrasing the topic sentences, that means you need to rewrite the topic sentences using your own words. That's it. Got it? The question is, should you write exactly the same thing here? Like in the past, most people live in small villages where everyone knew everyone else. Nowadays, most people live blah, 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 until in their area. Should you write exactly the same thing? Yes or no?
No.
Of course not. Right? Why not? Why not?
You need to have your own ideas.
Yes. Remember, this is a test, right? They are checking or they are testing your language skill. So what is the point of just rewriting everything, of just writing exactly the same thing here? You understand? So that's the first thing. And secondly, of course, they will deduct all of the words here from your essay. They will deduct. That means that, for example, like here they ask you to write 250 words, right? And if you write exactly 250 words, you think you finished the writing task, right? But then you have to count. And if you write exactly the same as this thing, and they will count like 30 words, so they will deduct 30 words here, because that's not your own words, right? They are not your own words. So instead of having 250 words, now you only have 220 words. Got it? So that means that you didn't finish the task. And you will get a very low point for that.
But can we use only some words?
Yes, you can use some words there. Yes. Okay? I say that you have to explain these things in your own words. It doesn't mean that you have to change all of them. You understand? No, you don't have to. Some words you can repeat that again. It doesn't matter. But you cannot repeat the same way as this. Got it? Now look at this. So this topic sentence. In the past, most people live in small villages where everyone knew everyone else. Now can someone else rewrite this using your own words? Or you just explain this in your own words? How do you understand this? Rewrite this one in your own word. Now just tell me, what do you plan to write? That means you say something exact, like the same as this, but with your own words. Tell me. Someone, please. Yeah, the first sentence only. In the past, most people lived in small villages where everyone knew everyone else. Now explain this to me in your own words. Tell me. Tell me. Someone, please. Yeah.
Many years ago,
Yeah.
people lived in large families.
Okay, guys. Now you can, if you don't know how to explain this, you can have a look at the sample answer. Look at that, guys. I'm going to explain it to you. Open it. Now you see the first sentence. In the past, most people lived in small villages where everyone knew everyone else. So here, in this sample essay, they write something like, until recently, the majority of people lived in the village where they were born. Of course, this one is not a very good one because this book is just IELTS band is 4-5. You know that? Yeah? So it didn't really explain everything here, but at least it gives you an idea. You see, they changed the word like, for example, in the past, now they write something like until recently. I mean, like in the past, until recently, people still do that. You understand? So the majority of people, do you understand the majority? The majority of people, what does that mean? Most of people. Most of people. The majority of people, like 80% of people. You understand? Most of people. Many people lived in the village where they were born. That means they try to say that they live in small villages. You understand? But they couldn't explain something, or they couldn't paraphrase something like where everyone knew everyone else, right? So they missed that. You see, they missed that. So this is not very this is not a very good sentence, but at least it gives you an idea. Got it? Next, you will see something like nowadays most people live in large cities where they only know a few people in their area. So how can they rewrite this? They say, however, now people tend to live in large cities, and as a result, the way people live has changed. See that? It's not, they are not so good. Of course, later on you have to write this yourself. Okay? So you have to think more about that. I really want to see something like you can really paraphrase everything here in your own words. So that's the way. You understand? But also this introduction, I think, is still not very good. Do you know why? What is missing here? In this introduction, what is missing here? Because here they have finished their introduction. But I think you still can improve this. How? How? You know what is missing? Look at the main question again. What is the main question? What is the main question? Folk, read that.
What do you think were the advantages and disadvantages of living in a small community?
Yeah, what do you think were the advantages and disadvantages of living in a small community? So that is the main question, right? Yeah. So how about this? Does it answer that already? Yes or no? Does it mention anything about that? No. So that is the thing they need to improve. You understand? So here, look at this. In the blank, here. The next thing you have to say, like in this essay, I will do something. In this essay, I will tell you, or I will write about the advantages and disadvantages of living in a small community, but of course in your own words. Again, you understand? So in the introduction, you need two things. First of all, you need to paraphrase the topic sentences. That's what they did here. Okay, but it's not really good. I must say it's not really good, but at least it gives you an idea. And then you have to say your purpose of writing this essay. Yeah, the purpose of writing this essay is to answer the main question. Do you understand? And the main question is, what do you think were the advantages and disadvantages of living in a small community, right? So you need to answer that. You have to say, in this essay, I'm going to do what? Yeah? Or you can mention something, oh, I think that there are more advantages compared with disadvantages. Something like that. So you have to give your idea immediately, because they said like, give your own idea, right? So you have to answer that in the introduction. Yeah? You have to mention something like you think there are more advantages compared with disadvantages, or there are more disadvantages compared with advantages. Got it? In the introduction. Yeah? So that's what you have to do. And then you will finish the introduction. Next, what should you do? After the introduction, you will go to what? Body. Yes, you need body. Okay, so you have introduction and then you have body, right? And in the body, you have, how many paragraphs do you think you need? At least 2, yes. At least 2. And maximum?
3, 4.
Well, we don't really have the maximum number, but I think you only have enough time for maximum like 3 or 4 paragraphs. Maximum. Don't try to write more than that, because you only have 40 minutes in total, and they only ask you to write 250 words, so don't try to write 500 words. Do you understand?
Why don't we write 500 words?
Because you won't have enough time. You only have 40 minutes. You understand? 40 minutes to make a plan, 3 to 5 minutes to make a plan, and then you have to write, and then you have to think, you have to check the grammar points, and you have to check the fluency of all of the things, and linking words and all the things. You don't have enough time. Got it? Alright, so in the body you have what? You need like at least 2 paragraphs, right? At least 2. Okay? Now let's say paragraph 1. Tell me, what should you write here? Yes, advantages, very good. Paragraph 1, you need to write about the advantages. Yeah? And remember, you only need to write about the advantages here. Don't try to mix things, otherwise you will make a mess. Okay? Now tell me, for the advantages, how many points should you mention? 3 to 4, or 2, or what? Tell me, how many points should you mention here for the advantages? 2 to 3. 2 to 3. I must say from 1 to 3. Okay? 1 to 3. Why is that? Please never come to number 4. Never. And maybe it's very rare that you have to use point number 3. Again, you don't have enough time. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, for every point you mention there, you have to explain, remember? If you write any advantages here, you have to explain, you have to give reasons for your answer, And also you have to include some examples. Remember that? So if you just mention the advantage, one advantage, and then you have to explain that, and then you give some examples, it's only like 4 or 5 lines already, you understand? And if you have 2 points like that, then you need to write like 10 lines for 2 points. That's quite a lot, right?
Can we use only 1 to 2?
Yes, you can use 1 to 2. But if you still have a lot of ideas, you have a lot of wonderful ideas, yes, you can come to point number 3. But don't try with number 4 or 5. That's too much. Okay? Instead of writing about everything, you just focus on only 1 to 3 points. 3 should be the maximum number of points, okay? But then you dig very deep. Okay, you explain very clearly. You think about the examples, you think about the explanation, the reasons, and all those things. You think about that carefully. It's much better than you write like 10 points without explaining anything. Do you understand? Got it? Yeah? So here, advantages, you have 1 to 3 points. And then, for each point, for example, like for point 1, guys, what should you do with point 1? What should you do with point number 1?
Ideas.
First of all, you need to mention about that, right? Mention? I mean, you name it, mention it, okay? You need to mention about that. And then what?
Explain.
Yeah, give reasons, yes. Give reasons. And then?
Example.
Give examples. Okay? You mention that point, you give reasons or explanation, and then you give some examples, if you have. Explanations here. See that? So that's for point number 1. The same case for point number 2. Also the same, 3 things. Got it? Done. Done. Yeah? Yeah. So that's a lot already, see? That's a lot already. How can you have enough time to write 10 points or 5 or 6 or whatever? Too much. Don't have enough time. Okay? Alright, so we finished paragraph 1 with advantages. But remember guys, if you have to write like 2 points like this, and each point you have to explain like 6 or 7 lines or something, it's too much, then you can cut that. You can move to the next paragraph, doesn't matter. But it's still about the advantages. Got it? Yeah? Next, after that, what should you do? In paragraph 2, let's say?
Explain the disadvantages.
Yes, paragraph 2, you have to discuss about the disadvantages. How many points should you discuss here? Again, for only 1 to 3. But guys, here's the thing. Again, only 1 to 3. But keep in mind, if you think that living in a small community have more advantages compared to disadvantages, then you should make it like 2 points for advantages and only 1 point for disadvantage. Because you think that they have more advantages, right?
No.
If you think so. But if, on the other hand, if you think they have more disadvantages compared with advantages, so then you only mention like 1 point for advantage and 2 to 3 points for disadvantages. That means that if you support the side you support, you must write more about that, right? Right? If you support the disadvantages, you think more disadvantages, then you have to write more about that. But if you support the advantages, then you have to write more about the advantages. Right? Make sense?
If you reported them.
If 50-50, then you write like the same number of points. You have 2 for advantages and 2 for disadvantages. If you think 50-50, then you have to balance that. If you think 80-20, then 2 for this and 1 for the other one. Yeah? or 1 for this and 2 for the other one, or 3 for the other one. It's up to you. Got it? And what you do have to do here, you also have point 1, point 2, and everything just exactly the same as this. Okay? Got it? And finally, you have what?
You have point.
Finally, at the end, what should you write? Conclusion, of course. Kết bài. Mở bài, thân bài, kết bài. Yeah. You need a conclusion, of course. And what should you write in the conclusion? Tell me. What should you write in the conclusion?
Tell my opinion. What do you think? Your opinion.
Of course, your opinion. What do you think? Whatever. Okay, it's fine. But what do you have to keep in mind? What are key things here? You cannot write about anything you like. Remember. So what should you write here?
Tell the advantages or disadvantages.
Well, in short, you must summarize everything you have just written from the introduction to the last point in the body. You understand? The conclusion is like the summary of everything you have just written. But you have to write that in some other ways. You don't write exactly the same thing again. The idea should be the same, but the way of writing should be different. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yes.
For example, like here in the introduction, you support the advantages. You say that there are more advantages compared with disadvantages, right? So in the conclusion, should you make it different? Now in the conclusion, should you come with a new idea? Say, oh, unfortunately, I think now I changed my mind. I think that there are more disadvantages compared with advantages. Does it work? No, never do that. Okay? If in the introduction you say that there are more advantages compared with disadvantages, then in the conclusion you have to repeat that. You have to stress that again. You have to say, yes, okay, there are more advantages compared with disadvantages. You cannot change your idea at the end. You understand? Okay? Like imagine like you're describing about car. At the beginning you say that, oh, the car is really good, I love it. And suddenly in the conclusion you say, well, actually I don't really like the car, it's so ugly. Does that make sense? No. Okay? And people will never understand what you're trying to explain in that essay. You understand? So again, in the introduction, you have to mention about all of the key points from the introduction and the body. You have to put all of them in the conclusion using some different structures and different words, but the idea stays the same. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah?
No.
Okay, so that's what you have to do. Okay, so here, like here you need to summarize all the key points mentioned above. Yeah. Now please write this plan in your notebook. Okay, write this plan in your notebook, and then you have to answer all these things in another plan. Okay, this is just a general plan for all the essays right there, and then you have to write another plan specifically for this essay before you're doing the real writing task. Got it? Yeah?
Introduction.
Yeah, first of all, just write the plan first. Stop asking. Right now, fast. Hurry up. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Write everything fast. After finishing that, you can have a break, okay? Write all of them, and then you can have a break. Stop, I think you need to sit over there, not here. You sit over there and you look and you write. It's much better. Sit there. Go. Mình tập mình đang đi từng bước rất căn bản nha, để cho các bạn biết cách phong cách viết IELTS writing là cái gì ha. Các bạn làm đúng structure, tại vì rất khó, nói cho bạn biết rất khó. Đã từng với những học sinh mình có được band A thôi nha, band A writing nó kêu nó viết cả 500 bài writing nữa mà. Còn lâu lâu bạn trò viết 1-2 bài, viết bài 3 chữ chả có tác dụng gì đâu. Đừng có mơ đến band 6 thì đừng có band 8 hay band 9 gì. Người ta viết rất nhiều, rất công phu này kia mà hết band A thì này kia rồi đó. Các bạn mà viết nhà chỉ có band 4 đổ xuống thôi. Go on, do it fast.
chưa? Gì đẹp chưa?
Biết khi nào con nhìn thấy nó nói nghe bài đó nó là tự nhiên rồi.
này có một thằng bên đi biết.
Vì vậy có vừa trùng nữa yêu cô
nó có bộ đồ cắt mặt luôn.
cắt mặt rất là lâu rồi mà
Chị đâu biết mà.
mấy em có ở đây nó không được Nếu mẹ canh vợ nhưng mà chết ôi vợ mấy ba đó là ta anh luôn dân bốc sinh cầm bát nè mẹ nó cầm vô mẹ nó cầm vô nó cầm cao mà dân bốc sinh mà cao á chạy vô em học bốc sinh chạy như là thằng đau
mẹ nó học sinh nó bắn súng.
ủa chị trong nhà này con eo xu gặp kia có gì chạy vậy cầm súng ngắm
Nó hiểu cho thấy
bé yoga cầm cái cây để trúc còn thằng eo xu thì súng ngắm mày nó giết ca eo xu chạy nhục nhục cái trẻ mày nhưng mà gặp mấy đau thì quýnh lên học sinh thì sợ sao thôi ba mẹ nó có về đâu
để nó chứ sao máu
mày bỏng ỉa
vẫn bị phải đắng không?
có lục xô cho đó
Người ta cho cái này làm gì?
mẹ nó số nào cho về
Rồi mẹ nó có nhắn gì không? Không nhắn thì thôi đi về. Mẹ một về nha nha. Nó lên nè. Nó lên nè. Nó đến nhận lên. Giết mẹ.
Giết nó
Chết
hay ngu với mẹ đi hay gì nhưng nó hay là nó đã không chết bạn rồi đang gầu lên rồi cái phép máy đánh lại cây này tao mới dùng tiền lên ngáo nó xô thắng nó có nhắn không? Không. Nó nhắn gì chứ? Chứ làm việc gì đó? Cầm dao chứ nó phải cầm súng đâu. Không phải cầm đồ quy lệ. Đồ quy lệ. Má thằng sao ở đây nghĩ là biết không biết ẩm mà để số 3 hết trơn mà nó xuống dưới quy số 2 đâu người ta phải chỉ trầu đó chết đúng rồi gì nó chết nó nói là như ngu gì
Today I don't think we have enough time to finish this. Maybe we will continue on Thursday. Right?